Hey y'all, welcome back to the Laidback Homestead. I'm Crystal and I'm out in the garden today with a few chores that really just help keep the garden going. And I thought I would share with you some of the progress that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So let's get started. First thing I always notice, because how can you help it, when I walk out in my yard is the wall of tomatoes. Now we are still debating on the proper trellising technique, but as you can see, by this weekend we're going to have come up with a solution because we are straight jungle at this point. The other thing I always check on is my hydroponic tote back here. This is our nutrient reservoir, and I need to make sure that it doesn't get too low. I came out this morning and this one was bone dry. Now at this point in the season, I am filling up about 2 times a week, maybe a week and a half. And this is 17 buckets supporting 34 mature plants. So we actually had a cold front push through yesterday, and these plants were all laying down. You can see they've perked back up today, but I think we're going to take the time real quick and get them staked up to their support systems. I get asked about these reflectors more than anything else on this channel so far. And these are just used as stakes, and then we have some string we tie here, and as the plants mature we end up tying them all the way up to these ropes up here. And to support them, I just bought a pack of green flagging tape off of Amazon, and I just grab them. Of course you want to be gentle not to break your plant, but just a little bit of support will help them. We are about to get our first zinnia blooms, so that is exciting. But I do have my first pink Cosmo, and I'm pretty sure these are all going to turn out to be 8-foot Cosmos, so I'm going to have to thin some of that back. You can see we not only have a bunch of tomatoes in here, a ton of them coming on, but we do have leaf spot as well. Now the best way to handle leaf spot is to come in and do a heavy prune, and then if you're going to use some sort of spray, that's when you would do that. However, I typically tend to save those heavier jobs for the weekend when I have more time to be outside. Today is Tuesday. I'm a one-woman show and I don't have that much time to really get in here. So what I will do on days like this is I will come out and I will spray some of this Neem Max. I keep this readily mixed up in a 1-gallon jug under my patio and can top up my hand sprayer whenever I run into a problem, whether it be the broad mites, which I am still fighting on some of these plants, or leaf spot. This will at least buy me some time until the weekend when I can get in there and finish pruning. I'm very fortunate right now that we had this cool front come through because it is a very mild day. The temps here are only 60s. We spent the last 2 weeks in the 80s. Once we get hotter, and to save money, I will switch from using this to a hydrogen peroxide spray. Just a nice even coating just to help knock that back a little. Another thing that I do is I check to make sure that the things that are not on drip have their Ollas filled. And I can tell these guys are dry as a bone. So I have to get that filled up. So I will water the pot as a whole first and then top up the Ollas. But upon doing this, I realized I needed to stake that tomato. Probably another victim to the wind. Now you may notice I have some pots here that are just weeds and have not been planted out. And that's just because I was taking my sweet time to decide what I wanted to put in there. But time's a ticking and I need to get that done. So I'm going to start by removing all of these weeds. Now that it's all cleaned up, I'm going to go in with some granular and plant some plants. So the first thing I'm planting is La Roma. These were leftover transplants that I had, and I really should have already put them in the ground, but today's better late than never. We have a nice Bonnie bell pepper, and this container right here is a self-watering container. It has a little reservoir at the bottom So perfect for really hot climates when you don't want to come out and have to water individual plants every day. And for this last little pot, I decided to go with the Moonlight Marigold for just a little bit of beauty. It has a watering tray underneath it, again, just so I don't have to water every single day. Heading over to this side of the yard, I can already see I've got some more wind victims back there. The other thing I can tell very quickly, a quick glance here at my self-watering bucket kit from Amazon, is that if the reservoir is dry for one, it's probably dry for all. So I need to get watering. Now we did get some rain last night, and I always wait for the rain to come through because these buckets have the reservoir at the bottom. Obviously, I want to capture as much rainwater as possible. So I typically will wait, even if they are a little dry, if I know we've got rain, just so we can capture as much of that as possible. Now these guys, I don't know what I'm going to do for a trellis system when they get to be too tall for their stakes. Don't forget to feed your birds and your hummingbirds to keep them off of your tomatoes. I can tell by looking at the bottom of my totes where the water line is, and I can see that I can get away with one more day without having to water these beds. So now that the general maintenance chores are done for the day, this is when I come back towards my seedling table. I check through everybody. I've got things growing in all different stages. I'm still waiting on some seeds to come up. Others have just come up. Some are needing to be uppotted, and some are needing to be transplanted out. And that's just how it goes. Once I see that everybody's doing okay where they are, it's time for me to decide what's next. And in this case, I mentioned in another video that I was looking for an easier seed starting all-in-one kit because my son wants to get involved with starting seeds and growing in the garden. And so I was looking for something that would make his life a little bit easier. And what I really like about this LetPot system is that it actually has an app that can let you know when it's time to water. And I find that watering mistakes tends to be one of the bigger issues that beginner gardeners deal with when it comes to seed starting. So I'm hoping that this can take some of the guesswork out of it for him. So today, all I'm really doing is unboxing and setting it up. Now, what's nice about this system is that it also comes in with a built-in heat mat. So if heat is a factor where you live, this may just be the perfect setup for you. Tray, bottom tray, heat mats, and it even comes with some growing sponges, adjustable rod here, our light panel. Now this little thing is an EC meter in case you want to grow hydroponically in here. And then we've got our power supply. Now, I was not originally intending to grow hydroponically in here, but since it came with the sponges, and I do still have, well, I have a total of 12 DWC buckets that will need to be planted out. 8 of them I haven't even built yet. I think I'm going to give the rock wool a try. I mean, you can use the sponges and then just go plant them in your yard or in your soil anyway. But we're going to give these a little test. So I like to use these types of kits with seeds that are particularly harder to germinate, or things that may just require a little bit more babysitting, or sometimes just with even really small seeds. So the first thing I'm going to plant out is some corbachi peppers. I started some a little while ago in another video, but I haven't had them come up yet. And so best practices would be to start more seeds. When in doubt, always start more seeds. The next thing I'm going to go in with is the celosia, the Chinese wallflower. I also planted some of these out at my homestead property. These are the perfect seeds for starting in a system like this because you can really babysit them. And lastly, some pansies. It's the Got the Blues. Again, I also started these or direct sowed these at my homestead property. Pop the humidity dome on it. When you plug it in, it will automatically turn on the lights. 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And of course, you can read your manual on how to adjust that to fit your needs. Now that I've gotten all of my necessary chores done, I always end my walkthrough with my electric toothbrush. I know where things are blooming at, and I go around and I simply buzz my flowers. And while this is not completely necessary, because I do live where it's windy and we do have a lot of pollinators, I love seeing the pollen fly out of the flowers because I know I'm destined for a lot of tomatoes. And yes, I even come around the back to make sure I don't miss a single tomato. And you may wonder why I do this every day. It's simply the most satisfying part of my walk through the garden. Well guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. This is just my typical daily garden walkthrough and chores. Just a little glimpse into what I do to keep this garden running smoothly, especially during the week as a one-woman show. It can get to be a little daunting if you don't stay on top of it. I've been able to come out, identify some problem areas, help pollinate my tomatoes and peppers, and check the growth on everything. We have tomatoes setting fruit. Our peppers are just about to start blooming, and I can't wait to see the harvest we get this year. I can already tell it's going to be my biggest one yet. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see just how much I harvest out of this small backyard garden this year, I encourage you to subscribe. And until next time, stay blessed.